He reckons this guy should get his race truck out of the shed. He's got a twin turbo V8 one, and I have not seen it for a long time. So we're a little bit selective on these older vehicles. If you get the parts from all sorts of places and whatnot and don't do half the stuff, it gets very challenging. And about the last 15 or so, I'm like, have you done your injectors? Have you done this? I'll turn up with a 200cc pump on a fucking turbo that's this big, and then the injectors won't have been overhauled. We had one, the seats weren't even below the injectors, the whole steel bit, just the most outrageous stuff, and you're just like battling to get a good result, which you can't do. This one here, we're just doing all the top tune on it properly. And to give you an idea, this is a silver top motor. They've got a radius face, a flat face tappet, not radius like the black top turbo. And we're just doing the valve clearances, injectors, and a few bits and pieces like that. Now, this is the old rocker shaft. Obviously, there's a significant amount of wear where the rockers run on it, so they'll step side to side. And obviously, if your valve clearances aren't correct, if they're too tight, obviously the valves won't close properly, and being a compression combustion motor, that's obviously not ideal, and if the valves are too loose, they won't open enough. So if you come have a look at this tappet face here, you'll see that the valve is recessed really badly into that wear pad. These are actually quite stuffed in the bore, so I actually got a lower K rocker assembly which I had under the bench, and there's a special machine, it's kind of like how they grind valves, it's called a rocker refacer, and you just reface them quickly. New rocker shaft, obviously you don't want to go, if they're completely flogged like this, if you reface them you can go past the hardening, which isn't ideal. So yeah, we've got a new rocker shaft, genuine Nissan one going in, rockers are getting refaced. We do have roller rockers for these if you're getting pretty fancy. That's what I run on my race truck. They're made by Yellow Terror. So that's got a roller rocker and chromoly push rods in it, which keeps your valve train a lot more stable at higher RPM. However, this one won't need anything that hectic. We put new genuine turbo injectors in it. The company that we did get them off went into liquidation in Australia, but we were lucky enough, I think Claire just managed to find another Zexel supplier. We've got another 100 or so of them on the way, so we're getting a little bit thin on the teeth, and the TD injector's new. But when they get older like this and you rebuild them, there's a lot of pitting, all the surfaces are getting quite worn. You can't beat a new genuine injector. So that will have it running nicely, and then we'll just check the tune on the dyno and give it a bit of a tickle up to suit. It's quite a cool truck. I think this one's been around a wee while. This guy does driver training, I believe. And he's been a customer of ours for quite some time, so it'll be nice to get it up and running reliably, and just he's not necessarily chasing a number or anything like that, he just wants it going through. We're just going to give it a smoke test because it looks like he might have a couple of holes in the inlet or something like that, and that way we know if it's got any boost leaks and stuff like that. I'll show you a couple of other little things that we recommend doing on these motors as well whilst I'm at it. So if you do have the provision, this is a passenger side diesel primer, and obviously you've got about 2 or 3 meters of unnecessarily long lines. You can relocate these to the driver's side. We just sell a genuine Nissan bracket for it, and that reduces a large amount of the lines, and obviously at this age you're getting a lot of cracks in it. The other thing is there's an air heater rod on this inlet manifold. So this here is an air heater rod. You don't really need them in New Zealand. New Zealand new ones didn't come out with them. So we sell our 18 by 1.5 to 1/8 MPT fitting. So what I do is I pull that out, put that fitting in a little hose tail in, and then you can run the fitting from your boost compensator pump straight to that, and it obviously reduces having 50 Ts like this. You don't want your boost controller and your wastegate and the diaphragm for the pump all teed off one thing. Ideally you want them to have their own individual lines. So that's another thing that you can do to just tidy up the engine bay. And obviously this air heater rod actually blocks at least 40% of that number 5 cylinder runner, and the issue with that is obviously it'll run richer. So if you've got a richer air fuel ratio on that one cylinder, the exhaust gas temperature will be considerably higher on that one cylinder. And when you see like flame front erosion or failures on heavily tuned stuff, it's generally going to be, if you've got that in that number 5 cylinder, it's going to run a lot richer. And not only that, being closer to the back of the motor, the water temp's higher in those back cylinders because it's got to go all the way down one side and then back up the other. So that's just a nice little quick knob that you can do on your kettle. As I said, you see all those fuel lines, they actually changed it on the turbos to be right here. This one's getting a little bit busy to do that on, I think, but we might have a look at that later. And yeah, the reason we want to smoke test this is it's just got a couple of welds which I think might be leaking. So once we've done that, if you've got a boost leak, obviously the problem is you can run into a scenario that you get an overspeed failure on your turbo, because the turbocharger is trying to make your target boost. You know, if you've got boost leaks, it's going to be spinning a lot faster than it should be, like trying to fill a closed basket up with water or air in a balloon with holes in it, as it were. So even if you're running low boost, if you do have boost leaks, it is hard on the turbocharger. Not only that, but obviously if you're stuck above the bonnet in water, it can get a little bit of water through those holes, no doubt.